Grassley says, but it only includes money to repair roads, bridges, and levees that were damaged in the first round of flooding. And there's been many millions of dollars more damage since March and April.
Just think, Burlington just had overruns of their levees, and downtown flooded there this week. It wasn't there before. Davenport 3 or 4 weeks ago. Then Missouri flooding again. So we haven't calculated any of this.
Grassley was pleased that the package included his amendment to provide coverage for farmers who lost millions in corn and soybeans that was stored in bins and which were inundated by flooding. Overall, Grassley says the disaster relief package should help those affected, especially in southwest Iowa, in the continued efforts to rebuild and recover. 20 Democratic presidential candidates will appear at a series of forums in 5 Iowa cities next month. Matt Kelly with more.
The events are sponsored by AARP and the Des Moines Register. Radio Iowa News Director O.K. Henderson and Kathy Obradovich of the Register will moderate the discussions. Each of the 20 candidates will appear at just one forum. The events, which will begin at 2 p.m. each day, will be held the week of July 15th. They'll be staged in Des Moines, Davenport, Cedar Rapids, Sioux City, and Council Bluffs. I'm Matt Kelly.
And the state's registry of smoke-free rental properties is updating its features to appeal to more users. Emily Vogt, who helps coordinate the smoke-free homes registry for the Iowa Department of Public Health, says the detailed list of more than 1,200 smoke-free properties has been online since 2016 as a community resource.
The Smoke-Free Homes program is a program to promote smoke-free rental housing to renters in Iowa and also to assist property managers and landlords in implementing a smoke-free policy.
The website is updated with new options so potential renters can learn more about the neighborhood that they're considering.
If they are looking for a smoke-free rental property, they can also see, we've recently added to the registry, there's a map view, and when you look at it, you can see where the nearby grocery stores are, where the parks are, the transit stops, and farmers market.
Now, to make the registry, a property must have at least one building that's 100% smoke-free and must have this specified in the lease language. More than 80% of all Iowans are non-smokers, according to Vogt, and 74% of Iowa renters say they would choose to live in a non-smoking building. And for more, head to smokefreehomes.iowa.gov. That's a look at local news. For the newsroom, I'm Bob Fisher reporting.
This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. It's 83 degrees. Going to be sunny the rest of the day, high 85. Overnight, cloudy with a low of 65. Tomorrow, sunny, high 84. On Thursday, sunny with a high of 82. Friday, sunny with a high of 80. Saturday, a little rain, otherwise sunny with a high of 78. Sunday, sunny with a high of 77. On Monday, it'll be sunny with a high of 76. Right now, again, 83 degrees. AM 1400, KVFD. The Voice of Fort Dodge Obituary is brought to you this hour by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. Abraham Bishy has died. Services for Mr. Bishy will be at 11 o'clock in the morning tomorrow at Christ Lutheran Church. Doug Harmon has passed away. Doug Harmon has passed. His service is this evening at 6 o'clock at Gunderson Funeral Chapel. Obituaries this hour brought to you by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. It's 2:36 at AM 1400 KVFD. It's 83 degrees. With a look at the closing market report, here's Dwayne Murley.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. July corn up a penny to $4.25 1/4. September up a penny at $4.34 3/4. December corn up 2 1/4 at $4.44. March up 2 at $4.52 3/4. July soybeans up 2 3/4 at $8.81 3/4. August up 3 to $8.88 3/4. September up 3 cents at $8.96. November up 3 at $9.09 1/4. July wheat closed down 12 1/2 at $5.07 1/4. Soybean meal up 50 cents a ton at $3.21. June live cattle up 77 cents at $107.55. August up $1.25 at $104.05. August feeders up $3.95 to $137.45. September up $3.75 to $137.87. June lean hogs closed down 45 cents at $81.12. July up $127 at $85.80. August up 95 to $85.47. I'm Dwayne Murley.
We stand for people, progress and pride.
We are the Iowa Farm Bureau, and we believe in nurturing our state's most precious resource, our children. That's why we provide millions of dollars in scholarships, grants, and resources to Iowa students and teachers. For more information, contact your local county farm bureau.
People, progress and pride, it's true. Iowa Farm Bureau, helping you.
Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services.
Oh, why not just cremate me when I'm gone?
Sounds simple, doesn't it? However, there are many options to consider when cremation is chosen. From simple to detailed, we at Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services can help you create a unique commemoration.
Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services.
Active Health Chiropractic presents Summer Savings Kids Kickoff Week, June 3rd through 8th. All new patients 18 and under get their first visit free. This event is in conjunction with their Kids Summer Savings event, Transformation Tuesday. Get your first-time visit free and out of the way the first week of summer so you can take advantage of their $15 wellness visits every Tuesday during the summer. Help to make your child's chiropractic experience fun as they transform the health of your child. Active Health Chiropractic, Fort Dodge.
Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
With 60 rounds of freedom.
That's right. We have 60 rounds of freedom at all times. AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. This part of the program brought to you by the Webster County Farm Bureau. Not surprisingly, we have a member of the Webster County Farm Bureau here, Steve Peterson. Beautiful downtown Slifer. What's going on, Steve?
Just kind of enjoying the weather finally. It's not raining.
Didn't see it last week. I took a long weekend around Memorial Day, but the rain, God.
Yeah.
That has been the story, hasn't it? Yeah,
it has been. I know there's a lot of farmers in the area. We've finally, there were some spotty showers yesterday or the last couple of days, but a lot of guys are have dodged enough weather and they're starting to get some fields dried out. Talked to several guys today, but there's still some fields that are just too wet to get into.
Yeah.
So, they're doing what they can. It's kind of a locally, real locally, I'd say, we're in that probably 90% done with corn. There is some guys that are still filling some acres in, especially the guys that are maybe all corn. It's pretty big load. Soybeans, that's a complete open book. There's guys that are done. There's guys that haven't started. There's guys that are, a third and everywhere in between. But there's a lot of fields. Several guys I talked to said they have not been able to get in the particular field since last fall. They've just not dried out. Even in my neck of the woods, from Slifer to Summers area, I've had 5 inches less rain than some of the guys in Summers.
Mm-hmm.
So there's pockets out there. And there's areas, and it's very specific to certain fields or regions. So, but there's a lot of activity going on in certain fields. Hopefully, we can keep missing a few of these. It's going to take some time to dry these fields out. Just it amuses me sometimes watching the news. You get one day of sunshine, and they think we're back out in the fields. That's not the case. And since we've been on the air last, here in Iowa, we have passed by now the prevented plant date for corn.
Right.
That was kind of
25th.
That was the 31st. Last day of May. And so that's kind of it's kind of uncharted for a lot of people around here. And
explain what that is again.
Well, when we buy our crop insurance, it's based on our 10-year proven yield history. It's based on an average of a spring and a fall price that they measure from the Chicago Board of Trade. And it basically puts a value on your operations capabilities. The prevent plant date, the optimum plant date here in this part of Iowa is probably mid-April to about the 5th of May. And then we kind of start taking a little bit yield reductions after that date. But the federal government basically says when you get to May 31st, you then have an option to take, I believe it's 55% of your insured value and not opt to plant that crop. So if you decide, they're not saying you can't plant it, but if you do plant it, you then lose 1% of your insured guarantee every day after that. So,
really?
So just before I came on the air today, I went up to the FSA office out here, west side of town, and I did my official acreage reporting, which I have to go in there and field by field, go in and certify which crop I planted, what was my planting date, etc. And then those they put those into their worksheets. So then that's the official record for my farm operation. And then I will turn those papers into my insurance company. And then that's what my crop insurance will be based off of, those planted acres. So it's a process, but we've passed that benchmark here for, I believe, Iowa, Minnesota, the Dakotas, and east of here, that seems to be where the real, I mean, for all the problems and issues we've had here in Iowa, they have been inundated with water east of here in the Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. They have just they are, I think Ohio and Indiana are only 22% planted on corn, and they should be in the upper 90 percentile. Illinois, big corn producing state, I believe they're only in the high 30s for percent planted. Basically, at the start of the year, the USDA came out and said we were going to plant 92, almost 93 million acres of corn. As of yesterday at 3:00, when the reports come out every Monday, we still had 31 million acres of corn to plant in the United States. And being said, our optimum windows have passed us. So there's about 31 million acres potentially be planted out there. And that's kind of been the big talking point in the industry right now, is how many of those acres are going to get planted. Of those acres, none of them are in the high percentile of yield potential. And the economists, there's so much information and theories and formulas floating around out there. Everyone's trying to guess what our final is going to be, because basically what it's looking like, there's a lot of scenarios that are basically telling us we're going to run out of corn, or we're not going to have enough. We talk about, we raise, 14, 15 million bushels of corn a year in the United States. And we use about 5.5 billion of those bushels for feed. We use about 7 billion for ethanol and food stocks, and that gets us, about 12 billion. And then the extra is, kind of what's left over. And that's kind of gauges what our prices should be. So, we've seen in the last 2 weeks, we've had about $1 rally in the price of a bushel of corn. But where we go from here it's a big guessing game. And, it's got I've talking to a guy in the bank this morning, on the bankers, and, he's scratching his head. These actually prices we've got currently, we haven't really seen for about 4 or 5 years. It's very profitable right now if you would have corn left. A lot of guys probably don't, but as far as covering loans and everything, he'd like to see some sales being put on the books.
Sure.
Unfortunately, it tends to be the farmer's version of gambling. We're waiting for higher prices.
Of course.
And so it's kind of a guessing game right now. Tremendous amount of information, theories. The economist, there's an economist everywhere, and basically they don't know. The prevent plant date for Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio will be tomorrow. So it's going to be real interesting to see of those remaining acres. And of the 31 million left, I don't have a number how many's out there, but a big chunk of it is out in the Ohio Valley. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to those acres. Now, some of those probably will get switched to soybeans if possible. Most farmers, they want to plant a crop. It's not first and foremost to take this prevent plant.
Right.
But depending on, what markets do, they're going to dictate some of the decisions. So there's the soybeans, we got a little more time for that yet. I believe it's June 20th here in Iowa, I think is the last, or kind of the prevent plant date for soybeans. So we've got a few weeks to go out on that. Generally, you start getting into July, that's not a very successful program to be putting crops in July, because then on the backside, and there's variety changes. They'll go to shorter season varieties and stuff like that. There's probably not enough seed in the country to switch 31 million acres to shorter season varieties.
Probably not.
So that it's a challenging deal, but some of the decisions based out in Ohio, Indiana, they're definitely going to affect our producers here. Fortunately, I've said before, sometimes you hope for a disaster, just not in your backyard. Well, that's pretty much exactly what we have the potential going on right here. For all the challenges we've had locally here in Iowa, I don't think it compares to what they're seeing out east.
What was behind the dollar price increase?
These planning, every Monday at 3:00, we get these planning progress reports, and basically we're in uncharted waters now. We've never been this slow planting since record keeping. I believe in the 70s or 80s is kind of when they kind of started keeping this format of planting progress. And here, I think next week will be the first report when we start talking about the ratings of the crop. We talk a little bit, I know now, about whether it's planted, whether it's emerged and all that. And then they'll start categorizing it in good to excellent and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what percent of these crops are rated in a very high percentage, because the markets, or the money, the Chicago Board of Trade, the investors, they look at these numbers, and they at the start of the year, they start off with 92. They start off with 92.8 million acres. They plug what's called a trend line yield, and that's the statistical average that we've been producing, and that's generally on an uptick. And then they come up with a size of the crop, and then they put in what they think we're going to export, what we think we're going to consume, and they start plugging all these numbers in, and then they get these carryout numbers. Basically, how much is left over. The smaller that number, the more valuable the crop becomes. So price will have to do its job to ration this. And the way it's looking, these scenarios, if we didn't plant, 12, 15 million acres of this, it gets really, really, really tight on how much corn we have to use. And then it'll be probably a price rationing type of scenario. So those that have corn will be well worth it. So, it's a crapshoot, and it's
well, that's nothing new.
No, it's nothing new. But the
crapshoot part.
It's and then of course on the again this week in the news, we're seeing both sides of Iowa flooding all over again. I believe the town of Hamburg is starting to go back underwater.
Well, if I lived in Hamburg, I think I'd move the town. I don't think Hamburg it's gotten hit a few times over the years.
Davenport, I see is some levees breached again, and that's back to flooding. And I believe yesterday in Washington, they did get their disaster aid package passed, and that was for a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, that was I think for Puerto Rico and some hurricane damage, and all over the country. But there was some money, I know, for both sides of Iowa designated in there. However, I did hear Senator Grassley talking. That doesn't actually include the damages now that are being done. So there's talk that there's going to have to be some secondary disaster packages put together for a lot of that, because there's just a lot of industries in both sides of the state that's just devastating for, and then let alone the damage to the rivers and the locks, the dams, and that's a very aging infrastructure that's vital for our ag exports, both sending commodities out of Iowa, and we bring a lot of people don't realize a lot of our fertilizers and stuff are brought up on barges. So the locks and dams and the river systems are vitally important for here in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
And those systems, of course, with the waters are, the water capacity that they're talking, just it taxes those systems big time.
Steve Peterson's our guest. He's with the Webster County Farm Bureau. Excuse me. So the fertilizer is actually brought up the Mississippi River?
Some of it is, yes.
Okay. From where? I thought we made most of the fertilizer here in the Midwest.
Well, actually, a lot of the potash, it actually comes from the north. It comes from Canada. We've got a potash plant west of town here.
Sure, yeah.
That's a lot of that comes from Canada. And then your MAP and your DAP, your phosphorus, I guess, it comes out of there's big mines in Florida. There's
Florida.
There's a lot of phosphorus that comes out of Florida.
I'll be darned.
So, and some of it I believe is even imported. So we're out in the world market too, and those ports down in New Orleans, they would load barges and send it up this way because the barges are probably one of the more efficient ways to transport large amounts of that. And then of course we send grain barges south out of the Midwest on the terminals, and there's quite a few terminals on the Illinois and the Iowa side.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
And then the locks and dams. When I was a little kid, I had a relation that lived out there, and my parents would take me. Those are just amazing to watch.
Yeah, they are.
Who come up with that idea?
Yeah.
And they were not new back then. So it's just a necessity for commerce on those rivers.
I've watched it over the Mississippi a few times. The Mississippi is just an amazing highway, so to speak.
It is.
And they offer some of those paddle wheel tour boats all the way down to Mississippi. On my bucket list, I'm going to do that one of these days. I think it'd be a fascinating trip. But
it would be.
But you're right. When it comes to moving grain and ag products, the Mississippi River is so important.
It is. It's a vital highway, and and from the Mississippi, then they offload the barges. A lot of trucks, because you get a little more regional of where that's going to be dispensed of. I believe there's even some traffic that makes its way up, the Missouri too, to a certain point. So, but then you'll move probably to your rail and your truck traffic off of there. And then that was one of the big keys of getting Highway 20 done for us. That's out of Davenport. That's a vital road, for transporting goods and services out of this way. So yeah, it's every year. I know that's a national issue of Farm Bureau is trying to get the money allocated. It's been talked about for decades of this infrastructure. It's usually a political point that seems to fall out of favor when someone's in office.
Yeah.
It's a big talking point, but it doesn't seem that a lot gets done. I do know that some of the organizations or entities that run the barges and the tugboats and all that, they've even dedicated imposed themselves on basically a fuel tax for infrastructure upgrades and whatnot, trying to dedicate some money for infrastructure. And there's been funds that have been set up for that, but it seems like they get cherry picked, and some of those funds have been reallocated and to other projects and whatnot. So it seems to be pretty low hanging fruit. But it's vital for the Midwest on the river structures and locks and dams. So, but
we do a lot with trucks in this country, though. I'll tell you, we go out in the interstates, man. There's trucks everywhere.
Have you been out on New 20 lately and just see the truck traffic?
It's about time. I was wondering, because 80 has been choked with semis for years.
Yeah, it's amazing, trying to cross or, get on New 20 and just to see the truck traffic that's going on. And around here, I've seen an article, it was a week ago, about Prestige, and there seems like they're just starting to, kind of, I think what they said, they're up to about 500 employed right now.
I didn't see that.
I think they're about half of the initial
where they want to be.
The initial. and and that I think somewhere around 1,000 is their target for the
1,100, yeah,
for the first shift, and then eventually if there's a second shift or whatnot, you could expand on that. But and then I did see there was I believe it Bushel Boy, their tomato processing plant. They're going to come into Mason City, so
Excellent.
It'd be some more logistics. That'll be on 35, but it could definitely make its way down here and be on 20, and that was kind of a new industry. It looked like they were building a processing plant in the Mason City area. So,
speaking of taking a risk, how would you like to be the Prestige family who just spent $450 million on a pork plant, then have a tariff or a trade war breakout? That would give me a heartburn. That'll give you a little heartburn.
It's I know they laid the groundwork long before the tariff came about.
Right.
I mean they've got a but on the same token, that African swine fever could potentially come to the United States.
We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Steve Peterson's our guest this portion of the program. Brought to you by the Webster County Farm Bureau. The news is next.
As a proud parent, you want to make sure that your children have the healthiest options for a great start to life. As a farmer, you want the same for your crops. Takeoff LS Nitrogen Fertilizer Manager gives your row crops the optimal start that they need. Takeoff LS is a revolutionary nutrient management technology that helps build bigger, stronger plants. It allows your plants to more efficiently assimilate carbon and utilize nitrogen and other nutrients. The result? Enhanced NUE, leading to more bushels per acre, per amount of nutrients applied. Quite simply, Takeoff LS builds bigger plants, and taller, greener plants end up producing more yield. Contact your local ag retailer to learn more about how Takeoff LS can help your crops get the start they need. And be sure to ask about the Verdesian Performance Guarantee. Use Takeoff LS this upcoming season, and if you don't get a return on your investment, we will cover any shortfall. Like a proud parent, we're with you every step of the way.
All right, this is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice for Dodge. 83 degrees at 3 o'clock. The news is next. We'll be back with Steve Peterson with the Webster County Farm Bureau in just a minute. This is AM 1400, KVFD.
If you're a gearhead or not, you'll enjoy the Under the Hood Car Show every Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400, KVFD.
A tug of war on tariffs. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump says new tariffs on Mexico are still set to kick in Monday unless more is done to stop the surge of migrants from Central America. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer.
I have a feeling that this one just popped into his head. It's clear that lots of people in the administration didn't agree. And I believe that he will back off.
He says he thinks the president is bluffing. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says there's not much support in the GOP caucus for tariffs, but he also has harsh words for Democrats.
They need to take their heads out of the sand and work with us on our side of the border to address the humanitarian crisis that their resistance has contributed to.
McConnell says he hopes talks with Mexico will ultimately avoid the tariffs. A father in South Carolina is convicted of an unthinkable crime. Fox's Gernal Scott has this live.
Lisa, Timothy Jones Jr. faced 5 murder counts for killing all 5 of his kids. The court clerk read the charges with the decision the same for each.
Guilty. And it is so signed by the foreperson this 4th day of June, 2019.
Prosecutors said one child died after being forced to exercise for hours after damaging an electrical outlet. The other 4 were strangled. The jury, which rejected verdicts that took Jones' mental state into account, will also decide Jones' sentence. Life in prison and the death penalty are possibilities. That proceeding will begin Thursday, Lisa.
Thanks, Gernal. A former sheriff's deputy who failed to confront a gunman during last year's high school massacre in Florida is now charged with multiple criminal counts, including neglect of a child. Scott Peterson, the school resource officer at the time, has said he thought the shots were coming from outside the building, and that's why he didn't go inside. Florida's Department of Law Enforcement, though, says his inaction cost lives. This is Fox News.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender.
Spring is prime home buying season, so if you're thinking about buying a home, right now is the time to lock a low rate, which can save you money every month on your new mortgage. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Virginia's Governor Ralph Northam wants a special legislative session on gun control after Friday's mass shooting at a municipal building.
We must do more than give our thoughts and prayers. We must give Virginians the action they deserve.
Possible proposals could include a ban on silencers, which were used in the shooting. The death of a Texas couple on their dream vacation in Fiji remains a mystery. Family members say they were preparing to head home to Fort Worth when they began feeling ill and later died in a Fiji hospital. The World Health Organization recently warned of a surge in influenza cases there. Cruising to Cuba from the U.S. became popular in recent years after relations thawed during the Obama administration. But those days are over.
Relations with Cuba appear to once again be chilling. The U.S. Treasury Department is out with new travel rules for U.S. citizens. The restrictions include a crackdown on recreational and educational trips. The move also bans U.S. cruise ships from making stops in Cuba. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin putting out a statement saying, in part, the crackdown is in response to Havana's destabilizing role in the Western Hemisphere and propping up adversaries in places like Venezuela and Nicaragua, while also suppressing the democratic process. Tom Graham, Fox News.
Oakland could become the second U.S. city to make magic mushrooms legal. The city council set to vote tonight on a proposed resolution that would decriminalize a variety of plant-based substances, including hallucinogenic mushrooms. Supporters say one goal is to let police focus on serious crime. They also note the possible use of such plants to treat depression and PTSD. Critics are concerned about unsafe use. Voters in Denver approved a similar measure in May. Big rally on Wall Street. The Dow up 512 points after the Fed chief signaled they might act if need be to make sure trade disputes don't hurt the economy. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Here's a look at local news from the newsroom. I'm Bob Fisher reporting. The Fort Dodge City Council last night in a special session approved an agreement with a Waterloo artist to place a 15-foot tall sculpture in the downtown area. The council unanimously approved the agreement with sculptor Don Perry for the stainless steel sculpture that'll commemorate the 150th anniversary of the Fort Dodge City Charter. The art piece will consist of interwoven forms symbolizing gypsum. A central column representing growth will be mounted on the base and be illuminated with color-changing LED lights at night. A ribbon that wraps around the column represents the Des Moines River. A $70,000 grant from the Catherine Vincent Deerdorf Charitable Foundation will help pay for that sculpture, which will be placed at the southeast corner of 1st Avenue South and 9th Street in the downtown area. The city had purchased that land earlier this year with the concept of future development. The man who served longer than any other as the Chief Justice of Iowa Supreme Court has died. The Reese Funeral Home in Ottumwa says 90-year-old Arthur McGivern died Sunday afternoon at Mercy Hospital in Iowa City. A funeral mass is scheduled for June 21st in Ottumwa. Supreme Court Chief Justice Mark Cady said in a news release that McGivern will long be remembered for his steady leadership and all he did to improve our system of justice. He served with the utmost integrity and civility. McGivern practiced law from 1956 until he was named a district court judge in 1965. He joined the High Court in 1978 and was the Chief Justice from 1987 until his retirement in 2000. While the U.S. House gave final congressional passage of a disaster relief package Monday night, Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley says it won't go nearly far enough to bail out all Iowans who've been impacted by flooding.
This package is a good start of addressing the flooding needs of Iowa. I think not only me, but a lot of other senators feel that there's going to have to be a second disaster bill between now and September 30th.
The $19 billion relief package is comprehensive, Grassley says, but it only includes money to repair roads, bridges, and levees that were damaged in the first round of flooding. And there's been many millions of dollars more damage since March and April.
Just think, Burlington just had overruns of their levees, and downtown flooded there this week. It wasn't there before. Davenport 3 or 4 weeks ago. Then Missouri flooding again. So we haven't calculated any of this.
Grassley was pleased that the package included his amendment to provide coverage for farmers who lost millions in corn and soybeans that was stored in bins and which were inundated by flooding. Overall, Grassley says the disaster relief package should help those affected, especially in southwest Iowa, in their continued efforts to rebuild and recover. 20 Democratic presidential candidates will appear at a series of forums in 5 Iowa cities next month. Matt Kelly with more.
The events are sponsored by AARP and the Des Moines Register. Radio Iowa News Director O.K. Henderson and Kathy Obradovich of the Register will moderate the discussions. Each of the 20 candidates will appear at just one forum. The events, which will begin at 2 p.m. each day, will be held the week of July 15th. They'll be staged in Des Moines, Davenport, Cedar Rapids, Sioux City, and Council Bluffs. I'm Matt Kelly.
And the state's registry of smoke-free rental properties is updating its features to appeal to more users. Emily Vogt, who helps coordinate the smoke-free homes registry for the Iowa Department of Public Health, says the detailed list of more than 1,200 smoke-free properties has been online since 2016 as a community resource.
The Smoke-Free Homes program is a program to promote smoke-free rental housing to renters in Iowa and also to assist property managers and landlords in implementing a smoke-free policy.
The website is updated with new options so potential renters can learn more about the neighborhood that they're considering.
If they are looking for a smoke-free rental property, they can also see, we've recently added to the registry, there's a map view, and when you look at it, you can see where the nearby grocery stores are, where the parks are, the transit stops, and farmers markets.
Now, the registry property, well, than 80% of all Iowans are non-smokers, according to Vote, and 74% of Iowa renters say they would choose to live in a non-smoking building. And for more, head to smokefreehomes.iowa.gov. That's a look at local news for the newsroom. I'm Bob Fisher reporting.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. High of 85 this afternoon under overcast skies, southerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms. Tonight, lows dip down to about 64, partly cloudy. A mix of clouds and sun. Tomorrow, high of 84. Temps near average Thursday and Friday with highs from the upper 70s to the low 80s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 82.
Have you ever wondered how the brain works? What makes us tick? Join me, Greg Woods, every Wednesday morning for all the latest news on the brain, on aging, and the science behind it all. It's The Mind Boggles, every Wednesday morning at 8:30 on AM 1400 KVFD.
Active Health Chiropractic presents Summer Savings Kids Kickoff Week, June 3rd through 8th. All new patients 18 and under get their first visit free. This event is in conjunction with their Kids Summer Savings event, Transformation Tuesday. Get your first-time visit free and out of the way the first week of summer so you can take advantage of their $15 wellness visits every Tuesday during the summer. Help them make your child's chiropractic experience fun as they transform the health of your child. Active Health Chiropractic, Fort Dodge.
We stand for people, progress and pride.
We're the Iowa Farm Bureau, and we're making healthcare affordable for you. We provide our members with access to quality healthcare coverage, savings on prescription drugs, preventive care, and more. For more information, contact your local county farm bureau.
People, progress and pride, it's true. Iowa Farm Bureau, helping you.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right. In this portion of the program, brought to you by the Webster County Farm Bureau, Steve Peterson with the Webster County Farm Bureau is in our studio. We wanted to talk, now it's out of my head again. Boy, I'm just having a heck of a day here. We wanted to talk, what we're going to talk about just for the news break.
African swine
flu. Thank you very much. Fever. So what did I say? Flu. Oh, well, I'm wrong.
I think it's a little more than the flu.
Well, didn't the chickens have flu here a couple of years ago?
They had the flu, the avian flu.
The avian flu, and they died by the millions. It was terrible.
I just go about how I'm told, and one's a flu and one's a fever. So
That's fine. That's fine. How about the fever? Let's go with the fever.
well, it still sounds there's getting information out of China is tough. You know, I mean, it's of course they release what they want to. Again, when I was in China, I personally felt there's absolutely no way to contain anything over there from what I've seen. That would be my own opinion of the circumstances and their ability to. It doesn't exist over there. So that being said, it still sounds like it's running rampant. It's they've decimated at conservative estimates more hogs in China than we have in the United States.
I just want to interject something, and I want to get right back to what you're talking about. But here's a bulletin that the Republican senators have gone to the White House and warned the White House that they are prepared to block President Trump's Mexico tariffs, and they say they have the votes to do it.
Well, I bet they do, because I think there's enough
farm state senators, for one thing.
Well, there's probably enough people playing on both sides of the playground to make that happen.
Oh, no doubt.
It's I just don't even know how. That's such a stretch to me. I mean, it was just a few weeks ago. We were trying to pressure to lift the steel and aluminum tariffs on both Canada and Mexico to pave the way to get the USMCA trade deal ratified. And then, and I out of the blue, this Mexican tariff thing kind of come out. And I don't know if it was meant to be a scare tactic but it pretty much caught everyone off guard.
Well, the president can be impulsive, and I'm sympathetic to controlling the border. The Democrats aren't doing a damn thing about it. They just want to sit back and watch Trump take all the hits. But there's thousands of suffering people down there, and something's got to be done.
There is. So, I mean, but to retaliate or impose these tariffs, it does not look productive to me going forward. I know there was a delegation that was going to come to Washington. I believe they showed up yesterday. The president, I believe, is over in Europe for the anniversary of the D-Day
invasion. Right?
So I'm assuming he's going to be over there for a few more days. But yeah, I would believe that kind of some background. I believe the president has this authority through some powers that were put in place, I think, back in the 70s to do the tariffs. And, he has some latitude to do it. How they would go about blocking this and that, I don't think it's like a super majority vote, or I don't know the mechanics of it, but
they can. I think it's 2/3 majority in the Senate or something.
I don't know, but
assuming all the Democrats vote against it,
I don't think he has any allies on this particular tariff.
It doesn't sound like it, and that's why I rarely interrupt you. But I thought that was significant enough.
Yeah,
so.
And that's one of the kind of the subjects to talk about is with all the muddying and information that's floating around there. So for the as a country, we got the African swine fever floating around.
Yeah.
There was a report that there's a mad cow has been found down in Brazil, and that I believe mad cow disease, and that has then I believe put suspending the export of beef to China because of that incident. When I was in China, we were to visit a city, and we could not, or a particular farm, we could not go to that farm because of a mad cow outbreak. So there was, that's still, I think, a very toxic subject in China. It's been years ago. I think there was some in Canada. So this virus and supply of protein in the world is a very touchy subject. It's a market mover. It's that compounds it. Something else that's kind of muddies the water for us farming was this. Last year we had the market facilitation program. That was a payment based on production soybeans, and of course we got that penny a bushel on corn. This year, a lot of confusion. I've talked to several operators, and they've heard or read pieces, and there's so much information out there, especially with the internet, and they're confused. And I usually tell people, I said, go to some trusted sites. Your Iowa State Extension's a good site. The Iowa Farm Bureau has a lot of good information. They've had webinars on these
They
subjects.
do, God.
But go to some sites that are trusted. Because if you're trying to make decisions, there's guys trying to make decisions on whether they should plant, whether they shouldn't, what's the best economic for each individual situation. This new, and I'm not sure what it was called. There was an announcement, I think it was last week. There was a bunch of farmers. Our Farm Bureau president from Iowa Farm Bureau was there standing beside the president when they signed this latest round of trade aid, I guess is for lack of a better term. And a lot of misconceptions on what's going on. There was this number being thrown around early that was $2 a bushel on soybeans. And that a lot of people have that in their head, but that's, from what I'm understanding, is really not how it's going to work. It looks like there'll be some calculations done in July, and it's basically going to be a dollar amount, and then they're going to phase out the installments of it over, I think, 3, and it's just going to be based on planted acres. So it's not commodity based. That way, it was not supposed to influence a producer's decision to plant a commodity. But again, we don't know the number. We don't know any of the mechanics of it, but yet you're supposed to move forward with some of these decisions. It's kind of a guessing game to, at best, but again, I think there's some producers out there that maybe have some preconceived notion that, well, there's $2 on beans. And I don't believe that's an accurate statement. That was pre the announcement.
Right.
But then Sonny Perdue, he come out and they've evidently done a program. It'll be similar to, I believe, prior to 2007, we used to have a program. It was basically called direct payments. I think they will assign a value, and I don't know if it's going to be based on a state level, a county level. I don't think it will be actual producer based, but it will only be on the acres that are planted. So basically the acres I said I certified earlier today, that will be my acreage number I'm assigned to participate in this particular deal. But how much, when, where, I have no idea.
All right.
So it's kind of blind faith.
Steve Peters is our guest. He's with the Webster County Farm Bureau. I took you out of your African swine fever.
Yeah.
Sorry. Can you finish up with that?
Well, it's and Greg Horace probably.
Well, I'm hoping Greg will be on tomorrow.
He would be definitely more up to date on that. But the United States, again, this plays into the uncertainty of the markets of a grain producer, because with the dilemma going on in China, the export of soybeans, the feed demand is not potentially there. However, the feed demand here in the United States, especially locally, it's a tremendous potential for as a row crop farmer here in Iowa. But the United States, we do things really well. We're very efficient, and the animal people, we talked about the Prestige family. They had that plant planned long before.
Oh yeah, I know
this.
That. Yeah, it was years in the making,
and that's business. But they also have a tremendous potential of exports and world supply, because a lot of these countries, that's what the United States brings to the table. We bring a rock solid, safe supply of protein, and
exactly.
So, in some sense, yes, it's risky, but at the end of the day, we've been preaching for a year now. We want to see these tariffs go away.
Sure.
But
what isn't risky? I mean, come on, really. I mean, I did not see the tariff war coming with China. I understand a little bit more about it now, and I understand why some things have to be done. I mean,
the unfortunate thing a year into this is that American.
Has it been a year?
Pretty much, it seems like.
Yeah, it seems like 10, but I was wondering if it was actually a year.
It's got to be getting close to a year, but no, it was probably July. Yeah, so we're
right at where if it was July, we're right there.
Yeah, we're right there. These just compound the decision of producer, trying to make decisions.
It would be great just to farm, sell a crop at a profit, and go home, but it just never seems to work out.
Sure, it would, and it right now, Mother Nature is so unpredictable, but I'd say Donald Trump's right there with it. So, like I said,
he can pull this. He can really take off.
This Mexican thing, and I'm a big. We've talked about immigration and then how it formed these communities and towns that we live in. But that was all based on, becoming part of society and legal immigration. And I think everyone is completely 100% for that.
Well, I tell you, Ernie Goss was on Iowa Press on Sunday, along with Chad Hartman, who is an ag economist from Iowa State. And Goss is obviously a globalist. All he knows is we need more overseas trade. And he's still mad because of the TPP thing. And he wants a lot of people to come to Iowa. That's what he wants.
Yep.
That seems to be his
the Midwest.
Deal. Yeah, right.
He's out of Creighton.
Yeah, he's out of Creighton.
But but we're at such a low unemployment in this area. We talked about Prestige being about half. From what I'm understanding, about half employed right now. The state of Iowa, I think, is a little over 2% unemployment. I don't know if there's anything really below where we're at.
Right,
You're never going to, I don't think zero is achievable.
I guess my contention is that, and like a lot of men, I watch the History Channel, there was a great migration in the 1920s and 30s, mainly African-American workers from the South who were living in just grotesque poverty. They wanted a better life, and they immigrated to Detroit and Chicago, major northern industrial cities, because these cities actively recruited them.
Sure.
Come here, you'll live a better life, and for the most part, that was true. And I still think we can do that today. I still think there's parts of the country where if we paid a little more money, we would be we would see a migration,
right?
And we'd see a migration of legal citizens, and we'd still have the diversity that seems to.
And I've seen that interview that Ernie Goss did, and basically what he's saying is we have to have immigration to expand.
That's what he said.
I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. So whether it be locally here in this area, or there's not enough labor pools for the positions that, I mean, there's some good jobs out there.
And then, and we, it has hurt me as a lifetime resident of rural Iowa to see some of our little towns dry up and blow away. I just assumed that we had new people coming here.
Yeah. But, and then, as a farmer and whatnot, I guess one of the only real good things I seen here, there's few tidbits of good information was the EPA on June 1st did announce or finalize the rules for year-round E15. So that has now come, and the date, and that was the final day they had to pass that for the summer fueling season. It was never offered year-round. And then I guess some good news for here is our local Iowa retailer Casey's has stepped up, and they've announced that I think they're going to have initially, I think, about 800 pumps, and then they have a massive expansion plan for E15 over the next few years. So that's encouraging to see them step up to offer that at their local, because they're in a lot of small communities here in central Iowa. So that good thing as far as I'm concerned as a corn producer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good thing.
Absolutely.
So,
well, some of our smaller communities have had a little bit of revitalization. I mean, you got to have as far as I'm concerned, you have to have a restaurant. Now, Farnhamville's got the Lucky Pig down there.
They do.
And that's a good little restaurant.
Few more days left on the voting for the best tenderloin.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They've won it a few years back in Ogden, and they've they're on the ballot this year for Farnhamville. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. I think it's still June 5th or 6th, so a couple more days.
Well, they had a big one down there in Des Moines. I thought I heard that one won, but maybe not.
Yeah. And
I don't know.
It's just it's a big deal. I know Rides here in Fort Dodge has won the hamburger.
Yeah.
And I think just to get on those, like the top 10 is a pretty good achievement. There's a lot of people, they make an effort to travel the state. They want to try them all, and it's kind of almost a tourism thing to just get your name on that list to get people to show up. It's a good thing. And the pork producers, they are the ones that are sponsoring of course, the best tenderloin.
Sure.
And
absolutely.
And it is good. I have I kind of alternate. Sometimes I get it breaded and sometimes I get it grilled.
Sure.
Which is a little variant on there.
I do like a pork tenderloin.
Yeah, you can't beat it. You get there early enough and you'll go bonkers listening to them pound them out though.
That's okay. Sometimes you run into a bad one, but
yeah.
not
So
very
they
often.
make them fresh every night, and if you get there early enough, you're going to hear them in the back room. It sounds like torture back there.
That's okay. That's all right. Just bring it out. I'll wait.
Yeah.
And just bring it on out. Well, that's terrific. Any growth in beautiful downtown Slifer lately? Or
no, not a whole lot. I think I've got a hog confinement going in or something. I seen something was going in. I don't quite know what it was, but a little north of town, which I thought actually were a little slow this year for any expansion.
Right.
It seemed like last year we were a lot going in, and I only have seen a few facilities in the area, I believe, that are slated for construction this year. So, but no, it looks like it's going to go in a good area, and I know the farmer's going to do it, and they'll do a good job.
On a positive note, I took a drive out in the country on Sunday, and boy, there was a lot of farmers in that field. I'll tell you, there was a lot of farmers out there planting.
Oh yeah,
and some of them were replanting. I noticed because
there
had
is
some big ponds out there. That
there is, and that's part of it. With the position that we might be in Iowa, corn's going to could potentially be at a premium, and they're going to do everything they can to raise as much as they can. So a little extra effort on the ponds and things like that. And I know nitrogen with all the rains we had, there's going to possibly be some more side dressing done, things like that. Fungicide all of a sudden starts coming into play when we've gotten into some pricing now that we haven't seen for a few years back. So, the value that we have potentially sitting there could be a good deal.
Good. This portion of the program brought to us by the Webster County Farm Bureau, and Steve Peterson's been here. Thank you as always, Steve.
Thanks, Mike.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Yeah, it's exactly 3:30, 83 degrees. The news is next.
Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services.
Oh, why not just cremate me when I'm gone?
Sounds simple, doesn't it? However, there are many options to consider when cremation is chosen. From simple to detailed, we at Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services can help you create a unique commemoration.
Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services.
Get up first thing, smoke a cigarette before lunch, after lunch. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm kind of feeling like I've lost about 4 hours of every day. I decided I needed to find an alternative. So I started looking, and then Juul came up. I did both for a while. Eventually, I just switched over, and it's very quick.
Mimi made the switch July 2015. Make the switch at JUUL.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Ever wonder why Europeans seem to speak so many languages? Maybe it's because they use Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Babbel's award-winning technology gets you speaking right away, whether you're learning Spanish, French, or German. And best of all, you'll remember what you've learned.
I always thought I was bad at languages, but after using Babbel, I can tell you I was just taught the wrong way.
Using Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons, you
Is it time for a new roof, or did your roof take a beating from Mother Nature? If so, here's some great advice from Hahn Roofing. When you're trying to decide on a contractor, never tolerate high-pressure sales tactics. Never sign a contract without a price. Never make a payment until your job is done. And never accept a job that is not installed to manufacturer specifications. No warranty, no deal. Make the right choice. Call Hahn Roofing today at 515-573-7440. That's 515-573-7440. Hahn Roofing, an Owens Corning Platinum contractor.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Here's a look at local news from the newsroom. I'm Bob Fisher reporting. The Fort Dodge City Council last night in a special session approved an agreement with a Waterloo artist to place a 15-foot tall sculpture in the downtown area. The council unanimously approved the agreement with sculptor Don Perry for the stainless steel sculpture that'll commemorate the 150th anniversary of the Fort Dodge City Charter. The art piece will consist of interwoven forms symbolizing gypsum. A central column representing growth will be mounted on the base and be illuminated with color-changing LED lights at night. A ribbon that wraps around the column represents the Des Moines River. A $70,000 grant from the Catherine Vincent Deerdorf Charitable Foundation will help pay for that sculpture, which will be placed at the southeast corner of 1st Avenue South and 9th Street in the downtown area. The city had purchased that land earlier this year with the concept of future development. The man who served longer than any other as the Chief Justice of Iowa Supreme Court has died. The Reese Funeral Home in Ottumwa says 90-year-old Arthur McGivern died Sunday afternoon at Mercy Hospital in Iowa City. A funeral mass is scheduled for June 21st in Ottumwa. Supreme Court Chief Justice Mark Cady said in a news release that McGivern will long be remembered for his steady leadership and all he did to improve our system of justice. He served with the utmost integrity and civility. McGivern practiced law from 1956 until he was named a district court judge in 1965. He joined the High Court in 1978 and was the Chief Justice from 1987 until his retirement in 2000. While the U.S. House gave final congressional passage of a disaster relief package Monday night, Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley says it won't go nearly far enough to bail out all Iowans who've been impacted by flooding.
This package is a good start of addressing the flooding needs of Iowa. I think not only me, but a lot of other senators feel that there's going to have to be a second disaster bill between now and September 30th.
The $19 billion relief package is comprehensive, Grassley says, but it only includes money to repair roads, bridges, and levees that were damaged in the first round of flooding. And there's been many millions of dollars more damage since March and April.
Just think, Burlington just had overruns of their levees, and downtown flooded there this week. It wasn't there before. Davenport 3 or 4 weeks ago. Then Missouri flooding again. So we haven't calculated any of this.
Grassley was pleased that the package included his amendment to provide coverage for farmers who lost millions in corn and soybeans that was stored in bins and which were inundated by flooding. Overall, Grassley says the disaster relief package should help those affected, especially in southwest Iowa, in their continued efforts to rebuild and recover. 20 Democratic presidential candidates will appear at a series of forums in 5 Iowa cities next month. Matt Kelly with more.
The events are sponsored by AARP and the Des Moines Register. Radio Iowa News Director OK Henderson and Kathy Obratovich of the Register will moderate the discussions. Each of the 20 candidates will appear at just one forum. The events, which will begin at 2 p.m. each day, will be held the week of July 15th. They'll be staged in Des Moines, Davenport, Cedar Rapids, Sioux City, and Council Bluffs. I'm Matt Kelly.
And the state's registry of smoke-free rental properties is updating its features to appeal to more users. Emily Vogt, who helps coordinate the smoke-free homes registry for the Iowa Department of Public Health, says the detailed list of more than 1,200 smoke-free properties has been online since 2016 as a community resource.
The Smoke-Free Homes program is a program to promote smoke-free rental housing to renters in Iowa and also to assist property managers and landlords in implementing a smoke-free policy.
The website is updated with new options so potential renters can learn more about the neighborhood that they're considering.
If they are looking for a smoke-free rental property, they can also see, we've recently added to the registry, there's a map view, and when you look at it, you can see where the nearby grocery stores are, where the parks are, the transit stops, and farmers market.
Now, to make the registry, a property must have at least one building that's 100% smoke-free and must have this specified in the lease language. More than 80% of all Iowans are non-smokers, according to Vogt, and 74% of Iowa renters say they would choose to live in a non-smoking building. And for more, head to smokefreehomes.iowa.gov. That's a look at local news for the newsroom. I'm Bob Fisher reporting.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. High of 85 this afternoon under overcast skies, southerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms. Tonight, lows dip down to about 64, partly cloudy. A mix of clouds and sun. Tomorrow, high of 84. Temps near average Thursday and Friday with highs from the upper 70s to the low 80s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 82.
How can you make tastier grilled pork chops? I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield. A new study shows you can improve taste, juiciness, and tenderness by cooking fresh pork cuts to the USDA standard of 145 degrees Fahrenheit. The Illinois Pork Producers Association and National Pork Board recently funded a study with the University of Illinois Meat Science Department, testing different degrees of doneness in pork chops. Consumers were given pork chops grilled to various temperatures to see which ones they enjoyed the most. The result? Across the board, consumers prefer pork chops cooked to an internal temperature of 145 degrees Fahrenheit, which is equal to medium rare with a blush pink center. Pam Jansen, president of Illinois Pork, says we no longer have the need to overcook pork and dry it out. She says you'll have a better eating experience if you cook fresh cuts to 145. Pork today is very lean, which is another reason not to overcook it, and follow the recommended pork cooking temperature. To check that it's reached 145, use a digital cooking thermometer to measure the temperature at the thickest part of the cut without touching any bone. Once you've reached the internal temperature you want, remove from the heat and let it rest for 3 minutes. Fresh cut muscle meats like pork chops, roasts, pork loin, and tenderloin are a great source of protein in the diet. I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield.
On the internet, there are tons of special networking websites, but one stands apart. This one saves lives. It's matchingdonors.com. Matchingdonors.com links organ donors with people in need of kidney and other transplants. Did you know in the U.S., 19 people die each day waiting for an organ transplant? If you've ever considered becoming a living organ donor, or if you're someone in need of an organ transplant, please visit matchingdonors.com.
Opiates has taken everything and everyone I've ever loved away from me. Everything.
I blew my ankle out and I got prescribed pain pills by my doctor.
If making my detox public is going to help somebody, I'm all for it. I just wish I would have had a warning.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth. A message from Truth, the Ad Council, and ONDCP.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. July corn up a penny to $4.25 1/4. September up a penny at $4.34 3/4. December corn up 2 1/4 at $4.44. March up 2 at $4.52 3/4. July soybeans up 2 3/4 at $8.81 3/4. August up 3 to $8.88 3/4. September up 3 cents at $8.96. November up 3 at $9.09 1/4. July wheat closed down 12 1/2 at $5.07 1/4. Soybean meal up 50 cents a ton at $3.21. June live cattle up 77 cents at $107.55. August up $1.25 at $104.05. August feeders up $3.95 to $137.45. September up $3.75 to $137.87. June lean hogs closed down 45 cents at $81.12. July up $127 at $85.80. August up 95 to $85.47. I'm Dwayne Murley.
Hi, I'm Jamie Brundage, owner of Historic Bruce Funeral Home. When you're planning the memorialization of your loved one, you're telling their story and sharing special memories with your family and friends. At Historic Bruce Funeral Home, we're proud to help you celebrate the life of your loved one, and we're here to guide you with your selections as we help you and your family say goodbye in a way that's right for you. Our staff is committed to compassionate care and attention to detail. Historic Bruce Funeral Home, Fort Dodge. Online at brucesfuneralhome.com.
The key to winning is at Wild Rose Casino and Resort. Earn entries now for your shot at one of 3 vehicles we're giving away, like the all-new Chevy Equinox, Colorado Extended Cab, or an LT Camaro Coupe. You could win other great cash prizes too. Start earning entries now and spend the summer in a new ride. We've got the keys to winning. Wild Rose Casino and Resort Jefferson. You'd rather be here.
Must be 21 or older. If you or someone you know needs gambling treatment, call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
I saw this news story where burglars were asked how they broke into homes. And the one thing every burglar did first was knock on the door. And if no one answered, they broke in. That's what sold me on my new Blink XT2 cameras. They detect motion. So if someone gets near my cameras, I get an alert on my Blink smartphone app with a video clip. But even better is the two-way talk feature that lets me talk to whoever's there using my phone, from telling the delivery guy where to leave the package to saying hi to the kids at the door. With Blink cameras, it's like I'm always home.
Blink cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 lithium batteries that last up to 2 years. And Blink XT2 cameras start under $100. No contracts, no subscriptions. Thanks to Blink, home security just got easier. Visit blinkprotect.com/news. 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 Blink cameras are available on Amazon and Best Buy. Blink is an Amazon company, and it works with Alexa.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. See website for full details.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. Right now, get your first month supply for free. All you pay is just $5 for your medical consultation when you go to forhims.com/able. After that, it's just $30 for a month's supply. Sure beats paying big bucks for just one blue pill, doesn't it? Plus, you won't need an awkward in-person doctor's appointment to get the prescription. Hims has doctors online who can prescribe the medication, and a pharmacy sends it right to your door. It's affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To get your first order for just $5, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/able. That's forhims.com/able for your first month for just $5. forhims.com/able.
Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
With 60 rounds of freedom.
Maximizing nutrient availability. Hello, I'm Megan Grebner, and this is Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with Verdesian Life Sciences. The safest place to store nutrients is in the plant. In this Managing for Profit, Mike Zwingman with Verdesian Life Sciences explains how the Takeoff technology maximizes nutrient uptake to ultimately improve yield performance. We'll find out more on Brownfield right after this.
There are a ton of social networking websites, but one stands apart for a very special reason. This one saves lives. It's MatchingDonors.com. MatchingDonors.com links organ donors with people in need of kidney and other transplants. In the U.S., 19 people die each day waiting for an organ transplant, most of them for kidneys. If you've ever considered becoming a living organ donor, or if you have someone in need of an organ transplant, visit MatchingDonors.com. Home of the greatest gift of all, the gift of life. MatchingDonors.com.
There are a ton of social networking websites, but one stands apart for a very special reason. This one saves lives. It's MatchingDonors.com. MatchingDonors.com links organ donors with people in need of kidney and other transplants. In the U.S., 22 people die each day waiting for an organ transplant, most of them for kidneys. If you've ever considered becoming a living organ donor, or if you're someone in need of an organ transplant, visit MatchingDonors.com, home of the greatest gift of all, the gift of life. MatchingDonors.com.
For bigger, stronger plants that improve yield performance, a strong nutrient management program is needed. Mike Zwingman with Verdesian says Takeoff LS nutrient management technology focuses on nutrient availability.
Can we make it there when the plant wants to take it up? What Takeoff does is really the key is getting that nutrient into the plant. And so what Takeoff does for us is it allows us to help that plant uptake those nutrients better and more efficiently and get those nutrients into the plant, because the safest place for a nutrient is inside the plant. Once it's inside the plant, we can't lose it. It gets used throughout the plant. It gets used in grain fill that turns into yield. And so Takeoff really gives us that ability to trigger that plant, to kind of upregulate or give that plant some energy to take off and take up nutrients more efficiently.
He tells Brownfield once the product enters the plant, it gives energy to the growth processes.
We don't directly affect plant growth and development, but we do is we give energy upstream to a process that provides amino acids, carbohydrates, proteins, and other things into that crop development, into that process of cell elongation and cell division. And what that does is it gives us a plant that's more efficient in its growth. So it's germinating faster. It's got stronger emergence. It's a plant with more leaf area index and bigger stalks. And really, once we build that photosynthetic engine and we build a bigger plant, we have the capability to take in more sunlight, and that maximizes our yield performance.
Zwingman says those nutrients will be especially important in this condensed growing season.
We need to build a plant that takes up nutrients more efficiently, and that starts with developing better roots. That starts with becoming more photosynthetically active earlier in that plant's life cycle, so we can take up those nutrients more efficiently and get them into the plant, because we have to pull in all that energy from water, nutrients, and sunlight in a shorter period of time. And if we want to maximize every GDU and every bit of sunlight we get, we need to have a plant that's geared up for taking nutrients in at the rate that plant's growing.
I'm Megan Grebner with Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with Verdesian Life Sciences.
Hi, I'm Robert. I have 4 kids, 11 grandkids, 5 great-grandkids, and I live with HIV. It took me a long time for my wife to convince me that it was okay to ask for help from people who understand what I'm going through. So I reached out to the Iowa Department of Public Health and found out I qualified for Ryan White services. The support is quite impressive. They help me with medication and medical care, financial stuff, transportation, counseling, and even housing if I needed it. They treat me with respect and help me to understand that I'm not alone. Did you know there are over 3,000 Iowans living with HIV? I didn't have a clue. But I know now that how we take care of ourselves and how we manage our care are 2 of the most important ways we can live our best lives. I'm living with HIV, not dying from it. Why wait? Reach out for testing and care services at stophiviowa.org.
Michael Devine, broadcasting live.
Support for the Iowa Watch Connection comes from the Iowa Insurance Division's Iowa Fraud Fighters program. This statewide initiative educates Iowans on how to double-check before they invest and shield their savings from scammers. Thousands of Iowans have attended fraud fighter forums across the state to learn about new scams circulating in their area and how to stay a step ahead of fraudsters. Learn how to fight fraud and why it is important to report scams at iowafraudfighters.gov.
The Iowa Watch Connection radio program is part of a statewide audience engagement project organized by the Iowa Center for Public Affairs Journalism, an independent, nonprofit, nonpartisan news organization. The center is dedicated to producing high-quality investigative and community affairs journalism in Iowa, while also training journalism students to do this work at a high ethical level. The center is found online at iowawatch.org.
Welcome back to the Iowa Watch Connection. I'm Jeff Stein. Dr. Warren Phillips is a senior lecturer in the psychology department at Iowa State University. He has a clinical practice in Ames and is president of the Iowa Psychological Association. Do you find, in your experience, that there are more individuals either in need of or seeking assistance than might have been the case 15 or 20 years ago?
Yes, I do believe that the need for services, the mental health issues that are happening, whether it's on college campuses or in the general public, have definitely increased over time. There are a lot more stressors now, and more unique kinds of stressors going on right now than I think there were, say, 25, 30 years ago. And it certainly affects, I think, the general public, but also affects our college students as well on our college campuses. One of the big differences, of course, between the past and current is the impact of social media and social media platforms. And, I don't want to be one of these people who, basically says all social media is bad, because it's not. There are some real positive things that come from social media. There's some ways that, people are able to stay in touch with friends and others that, would have been perhaps more difficult in the past. However, when we look at a variety of issues around social media itself, one of the things that we see is that there's actually a lot of disconnection that occurs because of it. For example, we know that one of the things that happens, and I see this in adolescents and young adults all the time, is very often when people post things on social media, the things they're posting are very positive. Positive connections. They're posting when they're together with friends and when they're celebrating and doing various things, which lends itself to kind of a biased view. If you look at social media, if I'm somebody who is feeling alone and isolated, and I look on social media, I may not find a lot of quick and easy support for that in the things that people are posting, because what I'm seeing sort of this skewed reality. That's just one example. And of course, social media also, just like texting and emails, misses all the nonverbals. We don't see facial expressions. We don't hear intonation. We don't hear inflection. We don't see gestures, which are a huge part of communication, and all of that is removed from, a lot of the written communication we see through texting or even on social media. And there's other issues as well, but those are some of the stressors. I think the other thing, and I'm in my 50s, I was just talking about this the other day. When I was a child and a teenager, when I talked to a friend or somebody on the phone, it was a phone that was attached to the wall. If they called and I wasn't home, there was a message, and I might call back or I might not call back, depending on how it works. That's all very different now. And that's the case not just for college students, but for all of us. We are all connected almost 24/7. People can reach us anywhere at any time. And while I don't want to say that these factors, changes in technology and social media are the primary factors that have led to some of the increased stress, they are part of the picture. We certainly see economic pressures as well. We see the increased need over the decades for getting advanced degrees and higher levels of education, more competition in the workplace. So there's numerous stresses. We see issues around the environment and all the discussion that you're seeing around global warming. I think that increases the anxiety, in particular, of lots and lots of people. So there are many, many stressors happening that I think are part of the influence.
A number of things you said just now are fascinating to me, and they all do come back to this level of information and connectedness. And we know so much more if we avail ourselves of it, about things happening to our friends, to our neighbors, to our world. It does appear overwhelming just from a volume standpoint. And to your other point about if you go to Facebook, people are always talking about wonderful, happy things. It's sort of like I've termed it the stereotypical Christmas letter 12 months a year, where it's always positive. When you get someone's Christmas letter, they rarely tell you about the failures of little Johnny or little Susie. And it does give a disproportionate sense of reality that I suppose if someone internalizes it, that may affect their self-worth.
Yeah, absolutely. That certainly can and does happen. And while I don't think it affects everyone that way, it certainly can be a risk factor for folks that are perhaps already struggling with self-worth and a negative view of self.
Based upon your experience, what is the largest misconception that people in the general public have? What is it that people don't understand that you would like them to understand?
I think one of the biggest sort of myths or issues that oftentimes gets in the way, unfortunately, of people seeking services is, the stigma around mental health, honestly. Unfortunately, to this day, I think many people still sort of view mental health issues, mental health problems, struggles, as though, these are people who are weak in some fashion, or these are people who, are very different from me, when in fact, that's not the case. I mean, 1 in 5 Americans are struggling with a mental health issue. These are people, these are our neighbors, these are our family members, it's our husbands, our wives, our children, our parents, our grandparents. These are people like you and me. We all may be struggling with, a mental health issue. I mean, any one of us could be struggling with a mental health issue at some point in our lives. And it is absolutely not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of not being able to handle stress or not being able to handle our emotions. And in fact, one of the things I consistently tell people is that developing self-awareness and self-management and self-direction kinds of skills and focusing on, facing and working through the struggles that we're having, seeking help to learn skills and practice those skills to work through mental health issues that we're struggling with, learn how to manage them. There's no weakness in that. That requires strength. That requires courage. And so, those of us, in the public, people in the public, people in the world who are seeking mental health services are strong, courageous individuals who are looking to improve their lives and the lives of really everyone in the community. So, I think that's really important for people to understand.
Dr. Warren Phillips, a senior lecturer in the psychology department at Iowa State University and president of the Iowa Psychological Association. We spoke in late May 2019. And that brings us to the close of this week's program. We're back again next week at this same time. In the meantime, you can connect with us online, iowawatch.org. I'm Jeff Stein. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you'll make the Iowa Watch Connection again next week.
The Iowa Watch Connection is a copyrighted presentation of the Iowa Center for Public Affairs Journalism, which is solely responsible for its content. For more information about the center, including how you can contribute so high-quality investigative and community affairs journalism and student training can continue, go online, iowawatch.org.
It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. City Manager David Furyk coming up. This is AM 1400 KBFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Hi, this is Leslie Segretti.
And I'm Tom Kreitler, and you can hear the Money Pit every Saturday afternoon from 4 to 6 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD, Fort Dodge.
How to avoid an unpopular outcome. Elisa Brady, Fox News. That seems to be part of the focus in Congress as Republicans make it clear they might not have the president's back for his threatened tariffs on Mexico. Fox's Jared Halpern is live on Capitol Hill.
Senior Mexican government officials, including the foreign minister, are meeting with lawmakers and administration officials hopeful to avoid tariffs being imposed by the Trump administration next week.
Again, there's not a great deal of support for tariffs in the Republican conference. Okay.
Republican Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson suggests a possible disapproval vote if tariffs move forward. President Trump says a 5% tariff will be applied to Mexican imports next week and will increase up to 25% if Mexico does not do more to stop Central American immigrants from reaching the U.S. border. Lisa.
Meantime, Jared, the Fed chief hinting the Fed is ready to step in to protect the economy if necessary, which rallied Wall Street, the Dow, up 513 points. The school resource officer accused of failing to act during a mass shooting at a Florida high school last year is now charged with 11 counts.
Scott Peterson, the former Broward County, Florida deputy, criticized and fired from his job for not rushing into the gunfire at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, is now under arrest and in jail for child neglect and perjury. State investigators say Peterson did nothing to mitigate the shooting inside the school when 17 people were killed. He was even seen on recordings warning other responding officers to keep away.
Fox's Evan Brown. Peterson has claimed he thought the shots were coming from outside the building. A South Carolina father found guilty of killing all 5 of his young children. The same jury will hear arguments on the punishment, life in prison or execution, beginning Thursday. The defense argued Timothy Jones was insane from undiagnosed schizophrenia made worse by using synthetic marijuana, but the jury rejected possible verdicts that would have taken his mental state into account. This is Fox News.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring is prime home buying season, so if you're thinking about buying a home, right now is the time to lock a low rate, which can save you money every month on your new mortgage. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Trump wrapping up day 2 of a state visit to Britain, which included some talk about trade.
President Trump talking up the prospect of a transatlantic trade deal if the UK leaves the European Union.
The United States is committed to a phenomenal trade deal between the U.S. and the UK. There is tremendous potential in that trade deal.
Speaking at a news conference with Prime Minister Theresa May, the president saying he's also confident of an agreement on Huawei as the Trump administration presses European allies to shun the Chinese tech firm.
I see absolutely no limitations. We've never had limitations. This is a truly great ally and partner.
He said of Huawei, we'll have no problem with that. Simon Owen, Fox News.
There were thousands of protesters in London today, critical of Trump administration policies, though the overall crowds appeared smaller than during a visit last year and also included some Trump supporters. Meantime, Vice President Mike Pence visiting Oklahoma, one of the states hit hard by recent flooding, while visiting a community food bank in Tulsa. He offered a reassurance that the federal government will be there to help rebuild. Some history made on the new Forbes list of the richest self-made women in the U.S., but we'll start near the top.
Although Oprah did make the list with a net worth of $2.6 billion, she didn't come in tops. That honor for the second year in a row goes to Wisconsin native Diane Hendricks, chairman of roofing giant ABC Supply. Her net worth jumping to $7 billion. Coming in second is Meg Whitman, former eBay and Hewlett-Packard CEO, with a net worth of $3.8 billion.
Fox's Hillary Barsky. Tennis star Serena Williams, the first athlete to make the list, thanks in part to her clothing lines and endorsement deals, and reality star Kylie Jenner, the youngest, with a billion-dollar beauty products empire at age 21. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Here's a look at local news from the newsroom. I'm Bob Fisher reporting. The Fort Dodge City Council last night in a special session approved an agreement with a Waterloo artist to place a 15-foot-tall sculpture in the downtown area. The council unanimously approved the agreement with sculptor Don Perry for the stainless steel sculpture that'll commemorate the 150th anniversary of the Fort Dodge City Charter. The art piece will consist of interwoven forms symbolizing gypsum. A central column representing growth will be mounted on the base and be illuminated with color-changing LED lights at night. A ribbon that wraps around the column represents the Des Moines River. A $70,000 grant from the Catherine Vincent Deerdorf Charitable Foundation will help pay for that sculpture, which will be placed at the southeast corner of 1st Avenue South and 9th Street in the downtown area. The city had purchased that land earlier this year with the concept of future development. The man who served longer than any other as the Chief Justice of Iowa Supreme Court has died. The Reese Funeral Home in Ottumwa says 90-year-old Arthur McGivern died Sunday afternoon at Mercy Hospital in Iowa City. A funeral mass is scheduled for June 21st in Ottumwa. Supreme Court Chief Justice Mark Cady said in a news release that McGivern will long be remembered for his steady leadership and all he did to improve our system of justice. He served with the utmost integrity and civility. McGivern practiced law from 1956 until he was named a district court judge in 1965. He joined the High Court in 1978 and was the Chief Justice from 1987 until his retirement in 2000. While the U.S. House gave final congressional passage of a disaster relief package Monday night, Iowa Senator Chuck Grassi says it won't go nearly far enough to bail out all Iowans who've been impacted by flooding.
This package is a good start of addressing the flooding needs of Iowa. I think not only me, but a lot of other senators feel that there's going to have to be a second disaster bill between now and September 30th.
The $19 billion relief package is comprehensive, Grassley says, but it only includes money to repair roads, bridges, and levees that were damaged in the first round of flooding. And there's been many millions of dollars more damage since March and April.
Just think, Burlington just had overruns of their levees, and downtown flooded there this week. It wasn't there before. Davenport 3 or 4 weeks ago. Then Missouri flooding again. So we haven't calculated any of this.
Grassley was pleased that the package included his amendment to provide coverage for farmers who lost millions in corn and soybeans that was stored in bins and which were inundated by flooding. Overall, Grassley says the disaster relief package should help those affected, especially in southwest Iowa, in the continued efforts to rebuild and recover. 20 Democratic presidential candidates will appear at a series of forums in 5 Iowa cities next month. Matt Kelly with more.
The events are sponsored by AARP and the Des Moines Register. Radio Iowa News Director O.K. Henderson and Kathy Obradovich of the Register will moderate the discussions. Each of the 20 candidates will appear at just one forum. The events, which will begin at 2 p.m. each day, will be held the week of July 15th. They'll be staged in Des Moines, Davenport, Cedar Rapids, Sioux City, and Council Bluffs. I'm Matt Kelly.
And the state's registry of smoke-free rental properties is updating its features to appeal to more users. Emily Vogt, who helps coordinate the smoke-free homes registry for the Iowa Department of Public Health, says the detailed list of more than 1,200 smoke-free properties has been online since 2016 as a community resource.
The Smoke-Free Homes program is a program to promote smoke-free rental housing to renters in Iowa and also to assist property managers and landlords in implementing a smoke-free policy.
The website is updated with new options so potential renters can learn more about the neighborhood that they're considering.
If they are looking for a smoke-free rental property, they can also see, we've recently added to the registry, there's a map view, and when you look at it, you can see where the nearby grocery stores are, where the parks are, the transit stops, and farmers markets.
Now, to make the registry, a property must have at least one building that's 100% smoke-free and must have this specified in the lease language. More than 80% of all Iowans are non-smokers, according to Vote, and 74% of Iowa renters say they would choose to live in a non-smoking building. And for more, head to smokefreehomes.iowa.gov. That's a look at local news for the newsroom. I'm Bob Fisher reporting.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. High of 85 this afternoon under overcast skies, southerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms. Tonight, lows dip down to about 64, partly cloudy. A mix of clouds and sun. Tomorrow, high of 84. Temps near average Thursday and Friday with highs from the upper 70s to the low 80s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 84.
Active Health Chiropractic presents Summer Savings Kids Kickoff Week, June 3rd through 8th. All new patients 18 and under get their first visit free. This event is in conjunction with their Kids Summer Savings event, Transformation Tuesday. Get your first-time visit free and out of the way the first week of summer so you can take advantage of their $15 wellness visits every Tuesday during the summer. Help to make your child's chiropractic experience fun as they transform the health of your child. Active Health Chiropractic, Fort Dodge.
Do you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes? The IRS has special programs in place that can eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. With a call to ATA, you can stop the wage garnishments, levies, and tax liens now. The IRS is currently accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs. You may qualify for substantial savings, so get the help you need. If you owe the IRS $10,000 or more, call ATA to see if you qualify. 800-805-1055. That's 800-805-1055. 800-805-1055.
If you don't listen to him, you suck.
He's sneaky, but he's right.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Well, not sucking today is City Manager David Furyk. Congratulations on that minor triumph today, David. I really think that you should make your bed every morning and not suck. So if you do those two things, I got to get that Navy Admiral wrote a book about just simple character building steps. And the name of it was Make Your Bed.
Make Your Bed, yeah.
Anyway, if you have a question or comment for David Furyk, 955-1400. I need an update on what happened to the Fort Dodge Memorial Cemetery because I hope it never happens again. That was a disgrace. I realize it caught everybody by surprise. But yes. Here we are a week later. Where are we now?
So the city
late yesterday afternoon, received notice that we do now have the authority to go on the property and maintain it. Alan Dorothy, represented by his attorney, signed a consent. I think it's a letter of consent. I might mess up the legal terms. It's a letter of consent. Basically, he is authorizing a couple things. One is he's not going to fight the what do they call that process? I can't even think of it right now.
He's not planning. I don't really know what process.
I'm
you're
sorry,
referring
just the numbers escaping me.
Right.
Where the Iowa Insurance Division will go in and the receivership. So the Iowa Insurance Division has initiated the process for receivership. That takes a bit of time. They have to do a bunch of paperwork, submit it, and has to wait for its time on court. So it has to sit in a docket, then a judge approves it, and then it's in receivership, which means Iowa Insurance Division basically takes over the cemetery. It is not in receivership now. However, the owner of it, Alan Dorothy, signed a document basically saying he will not fight receivership, which should speed that along substantially. Obviously, it's not contested. So,
does he own the property, or what does he own?
Well, the property is owned. If you go on a tax record, I think it's Fort Dodge Memorial Park LLC.
Okay,
but he is the only officer agent of that LLC. So basically, it's his. So back up a step. So he signed this consent form that not only allows that he won't contest the receivership, but he will also allow the city of Fort Dodge to go on and maintain the property until such time it is in receivership. So specifically talking, it is not in receivership now, so it is not in control of the Iowa Insurance Division. However, he's basically has granted the city the ability to go on and mow it.
I hope we can have some guarantees that Mr. Dorothy is never allowed to take care of a cemetery again. That particular one.
Well, I never met the man. I don't know him, and that's probably a statement to be made to the Iowa Insurance Division. So when a property is in receivership, there's a couple three things that happen. One is the current owner can demonstrate that they have the ability to continue maintenance and upkeep of it. But that's usually after a thorough review by the Iowa Insurance Division of their financials, of whatever the conditions are going on, and whatever complaints they've received. So that's option number one, and usually, ideally, option number two is that if the current owner is not able to do that, that they try to look for another private entity that would take over, basically buy or take over responsibility of the cemetery. Option number three, if 1 and 2 fail, is that the city of Fort Dodge takes it over, and that's an obligation in Iowa code that a cemetery within our jurisdiction becomes ours if it's not accepted.
Can the city, I imagine through the city council, through the city council take control of that cemetery now?
There will be an agreement. Well, when it's in receivership, there will be an MOU that'll be approved between the city council.
MOU is
Memorandum of Understanding between the city council and the Iowa Insurance Division that basically spells out what the city is going to do and what the Iowa Insurance Division is going to do. That's during receivership. After that, what I think happens is kind of a low-tech answer is they basically, if no one else takes it, they hand us the keys and says, here you go. It's your property.
Okay.
I mean, we have Oakland Cemetery, which is kind of, I wasn't here for that process because I think that happened in the early to late 70s.
I think it was, okay.
But similar thing happened. I think it was run by a non-for-profit, what I was told, and then non-for-profit basically couldn't sustain it anymore, and it was handed over to the city.
Yeah. It would make me feel a lot better if the city was involved in the Fort Dodge Memorial Cemetery.
Mhm.
Now, I know maybe the city doesn't want to do that, but was this brought up Monday at a council meeting, that anything about this? I assume if the city were to take control, that the council would have to act.
Ultimately, when it becomes a formal memorandum of understanding is approved. At this point, the council hasn't acted on it.
I know.
We are soliciting proposals for mowing and trimming of it from private parties, entities, anyone who's interested. I hope the guys that volunteered to do it last week would be interested in continuing to do it and getting paid to do it. So our plan is to seek proposals from entities, businesses, lawn care businesses who would want to accept this. The very difficult thing is early June is when the grass grows the fastest in Fort Dodge, and it's 24 acres of grass. So it's a big project. In fact, even for the city, we're looking at contracting out because we don't have the staffing and resources to take over 24 acres of cemetery and try to do it justice. So we're seeing what is out there as far as a private entity that is willing to do it and mow it. So that's what our first shot is. If we get proposals back, which I think we have a deadline of Monday is what we're putting there, because this grass is going to keep growing.
Sure.
And then see what it is and try to issue. If it's within my spending authority, I'm gonna just approve the contract and get the thing going.
Sure. Yeah. So who would potential mowers apply to?
There is a proposal that's out there. It was attached, or a form. Sorry, I shouldn't say proposal. There's a request for proposals that was attached to our press release that would basically, it's going to come back to the Parks and Rec Department at the city of Fort Dodge.
The press release that you have.
We had a press release that went out maybe an hour ago, and you're going to be also able to see it on our city's website that talks about that we are taking over maintenance, and we're looking for contractors willing to do it.
My compliments to the city workers, by the way. This is the second time I've used C-Click Fix. C-Click Fix. It's the big old house on the corner there where North Junior High School used to be, or Phillips Middle School.
Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of apartments are calling it now. But anyway, that house was surrounded by weeds and grass 2 feet high.
Yeah, I haven't mowed it all year.
No. But I sent in a picture with C-Click Fix, and Monday morning it was done.
Good.
So that's
very
good.
good.
That's good news.
Yeah.
There's another house on North 9th Street. I should have taken a picture too. It's abandoned and the grass is about 2 feet high.
This is one of those years with the incredible moisture in the soil, and now that it's getting warm, the grass is growing like crazy. And even there's enough rain that even if someone intended on mowing, it's hard to keep up on because of how much rain we're getting when we're getting it. So.
What is the plan for that house at 926 4th Avenue North? The big house right in the corner. It used to belong to the Second Baptist Church here in town.
Yeah, we just acquired that.
Yeah, you just bought it. The city. Why did the city buy it? What is the plan?
We're going to demolish it.
Okay.
And then I think there's no, we don't have it budgeted yet, but I think the plans are ultimately to probably into parking for the apartments, whether we sell that to the owners or how we work on it. But it's probably good to keep because there is a parking shortage in that area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so,
well, I'd be in favor of just continuing the demolition on the north side of 4th Avenue North there. There's a couple of houses to the west that I understand the city. I was told by some of the residents of those buildings that the city has been talking with the owner about buying the homes. Do you know that? Or
I can neither confirm or deny.
You
no,
cannot.
No, I honestly don't know because I'm not the one who has those initial contacts.
Who has those initial contacts?
It's usually Vicky in our office.
Vicky.
Vicky Reeks, our real estate tycoon.
She's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's pretty smart. Yeah, pretty smart. Our guest is City Manager David Furick here at AM 1400 KVFD. If you have a question or comment for David Furick, 515-955-1400. I'll save you the trouble. I understand we're getting a sculpture. Where was this? Where will the sculpture be?
It will be on the corner of First Avenue South and 9th Street. So it'll be just south of the Warden Plaza, just east of the city building in that lot there.
And of course, Facebook and Twitter have been alive. We're building a sculpture for $10 billion of taxpayers' money. And
everybody loves public art. If you think about any public art effort that's happened, whether it was the parade that went down on the 8th Street intersection.
Sure.
The 8th Street intersection at Kenyon Road. The two pieces of public art in a roundabout. Yeah, it makes some people love it and other people go bonkers over it.
Well, I'll tell you that what was done with that old Cargill grain elevator down by Amigos there was fantastic. When visitors come to our town, I take them down there because some of them even want to see it because the pictures have been around in Des Moines Register. Where is that thing? And they're all very, very impressed. I I was amazed at the work that man did.
Yeah. There was a really cool picture posted this morning on the Facebook site. I think it's called Fort Dodge, America's Best Hometown.
Yeah.
A guy named Dave Prelip must take photos.
Dave, yeah.
And he posted it, and it's gorgeous. He's got the river through the trees, and in the background is that grain silo. It looked really cool. So I don't know. He's got a great eye for photography, but that picture was just awesome. It shows both the beauty of the river and that grain silo with the art on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and even that piece of public art had its own controversy back in the day. So, it's just one of those things. Public art creates controversy. People love it, people hate it. But in all these cases, this wasn't tax money that we could have spent on fixing streets or anything like this. This was all donated money in one form or another. This current one, this piece, is funded 100% by the Catherine, let me get this right, Deardorff Foundation. The ones on the two roundabouts had a combination of money with Deardorff Foundation money. I think some state grants that was for public art and enhancements, and then likewise the parade was all Deardorff Foundation, and then the silo had a combination of things. But none of this is money that we could have just said, "No, let's go fix streets with this money." It's just different forms, different things, and that's the way cities are run. Is that you may have money in one thing that you can spend on art that you couldn't go and fix your alley or your street or things like that.
So this weekend is Celebration. Are you going to, and this is about your generation here, Vince Neil and Van Halen. Are you going to go out to Boogie, Ferrick?
That's scary. You see those. Actually, they're older than me. They got to be, because when I was a snot-nosed teenager, like 14, 15, 16 is when they were really popular.
Oh, you bet.
And they were probably in their 20s. So
Sammy Hagar is older than I am. But
how old's Sammy Hagar?
Oh, he's about 70, I think.
Good for him.
But he looks great. I mean, he looks terrific.
Well, Hollywood plastic surgeons are pretty awesome.
Well, he's worked. He's worked out over the years too, but I'm sure he still has his juice there.
No, I mean, it sounds good. I mean, I listened to a lot of their music back in my younger years.
So you're going to rock out and do all those things?
Actually, I'm going to be out of town.
Are you going to be out of town? Did I see you at the Frontier Days Parade? Did I see you? Were you there?
I was there for a little bit.
I mean, did you march in the parade?
No,
because I was a parade announcer.
Because if I marched in a parade, people would throw candy back at me or something.
Oh, that's what happened with me. The Webster County supervisors, I told them I had diabetes, and they all threw candy at me. That's what I thought. What nice guys they are. But anyway, David Ferrick is our guest at AM 1400 KVFT. So you're not going to go.
No.
See, you and Bemrick never show up at community events.
It just so happens it just is a conflict with some other family stuff we have going on. That
Matt wasn't there last year, and he wasn't there this year. And they had a nice buckskinner camp out there. I don't know. I don't know how they did. I don't know if the numbers were down this year or not. Know. But I was out there a couple of times, and they had solid entertainment. That Beaver Creek Band was a really good group. And Jason Brown was out there. Yeah. He looked like he had a pretty good turnout out there.
When my kids were younger, we used to go out there all the time. They love that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Kids would love the history.
I remember we still got that bottle. There was a guy that had, was it root beer, homemade root beer or something, where you brought the bottle back each year and he filled it up, or was it homemade lemonade? I don't know. It was something really good.
I think it was
the bottle's still sitting on my shelf. Yeah.
No, it was a nice little weekend as always. We avoided the rain, and that's all good. And I was a parade announcer again this year. I haven't done it for a couple of years, but I've done it off and off many times over the years, and always enjoyed doing it. And if I'm not on the grandstand doing the announcing, I'm certainly on the parade route somewhere. Really enjoy the parade. David Ferrick is our guest. Now we covered the sculpture. When is that? When is the construction? It was voted on last night, and when is the construction going to begin?
So the artist plans on starting right away. He's got to order his material.
And the artist is who?
Dan Perry out of Waterloo.
Okay.
Yeah, it is Dan Perry. So he'll start on it right away. It should be done by September. So the plan is to have it done and assembled and installed. There's going to be a 150th anniversary celebration towards the end of September. If I say the date, I'll probably get it wrong, but that will we'll hopefully have it up before then, so we can have it sort of dedicated as part of that celebration. But
Well, that will be way cool.
it will be. It's
I
awesome.
think that's. I'm not one who's opposed to public art. Just streets and buildings don't do it for me.
Yeah. Well,
I'm for parks and public art and band concerts and the whole thing.
Well, I mean, you think about, you got the Crosstown Connector. We did the street. We got the really cool art on the roundabouts. We have, you have Fairway, who built a new store on it. You have the Warden Plaza that's going to get redeveloped. We got a developer in line. It's just a matter of getting through all the hurdles, and that's going to be an awesome building. We're going to put that public art and create that plaza across the street, and then you got Bruce's Funeral Home right there. So you got some really cool look. That's going to be a really cool looking corridor.
Bruce's Funeral Home is a cool looking old building. It really is. That is going to be nice.
If we when we get this all redeveloped, it's going to be really neat. I mean, really impressive.
Guy told me that one of the stores in town is selling fireworks. Is that can we sell fireworks year round in the state of Iowa? Or how does that go?
No, I think it starts June 8th, I thought. Right?
Well, this store is getting a little jump on everybody then.
Like real sort of fireworks, like bottle rockets and firecrackers and stuff, or sparklers.
Fireworks.
Because I think you can do sparklers, maybe like bottle rockets and stuff. What store was it, Mike?
No, I can't tell you. Sorry. I have my sources. No, I didn't see it first.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't. I thought it had to be was it June 8th or 10th before they could start
could be
selling? I can't remember what the ordinance.
I think I may have missed the first J. Mars cruise over the weekend. Or I didn't see it advertised. I'll have to go out to J. Mars tomorrow and ask Jerry Jordison if he has a cruise.
Get some fried chicken while you're at it.
Always. Always. We have a little breakfast group out there that includes every Saturday morning that we meet. And so I'll find out. Anyway, is there anything else we need to know here, David?
Gosh, I don't know. So we got a council meeting coming up next Monday.
Again?
Yeah. Well, this one was a special meeting. So we wanted to, make sure, because there's a time limit on this art. So yesterday was a special council meeting. That's the first Monday we weren't normally going to meet. But because of the way we wanted to have this art agreement done, we wanted to expedite it even by a week so that the artists can get started. So we moved it up and had a special one-item council meeting. So
okay,
we'll have a full slate on that project, or full slate of projects on that agenda.
Why was this last week, or this meeting last night was all about the sculpture?
Yes.
Okay.
It was just a special one agenda item.
Okay.
Meeting.
All right. Okay. Good. Now, did all the council people come?
They did.
All right.
We didn't have any members of the public who were outraged at the public art show up, though.
Well, it's one thing to be outraged in public, and it's another thing to be hiding behind your computer screen, barking on social media, That always kills me.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you, David.
Oh, you're welcome, Mike.
David Ferrick's been our guest.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
It's 4:30.
What if I told you there was a way to step into another gear for your brain and be much sharper, more focused, and improve your memory to a level that you could only dream about, and notice these results in 30 minutes? Hard to believe? Neuroscientists are calling this new brain discovery the biggest advancement in brain science to date. It's called Limitless, the brain pill of the future. Take it, and within 30 minutes, you'll transport your mind to a new level of focus and clarity you would have never thought possible.
I took Limitless and it started working in minutes. All of a sudden, it felt like a dark cloud had been lifted up right before my eyes. I have a mental clarity I've never felt before.
Biz execs, athletes, teachers, and students are calling Limitless a secret weapon for the brain. You have nothing to lose, so call now and find out how to get a free bottle today.
To find out how to get your free bottle of Limitless, call 800-681-9041. That's 800-681-9041. Free bottle for a limited time. Call now, 800-681-9041, 800-681-9041.
Hi, I'm Tommy. I'm a farmer, a wife, a mom, a leader in my community, and I live with HIV. My life is just like yours. I get up every day hoping for the best day possible out in field. I feed my soul with hard work and am dedicated to making the most out of every day. I wasn't always so optimistic. But once I found out that I'm just one of over 3,000 Iowans living with HIV, I knew I wasn't alone. I reached out to the Iowa Department of Public Health and found out I qualified for medication and medical care, financial help, transportation, housing, and counseling through Ryan White funding. That was a huge relief to me and my family. I've taken control of my diagnosis and take care of myself so I can live my best life. I'm living with HIV, not dying from it. Why wait? Reach out for testing and care services at stophiviowa.org.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Here's a look at local news for the newsroom. I'm Bob Fisher reporting. The Fort Dodge City Council last night